Code of Honor.
My favorite episode.
A simple delivery mission takes a dark turn as one of the crew is kidnapped. One of the worst ranked Next Generation episodes shows up right out of the gate. It feels like an original series episode that was rejected, but they dug it out of the trash 20 years later and did it anyway. There's a planet suffering from a plague, and another planet is the only place a vaccine can be produced, even though they're way less developed technology-wise. So the Enterprise is sent to retrieve and deliver it.
And they have no choice but to go along with their strict customs.
Which includes, if I want something, I'm just going to take it. They steal Tasha, and the crew has to go through all of their customs and rituals to get her back.
This is something TNG does all the time, where they're really bad at interacting with other cultures. The way they talk about it in this episode, it's always, this is the way we do it in my culture. Imagine traveling to another country and saying, well, in my culture, we do this, so you're going to do this. The people on the Enterprise and the people from the other culture handle things so stupidly.
For some reason, despite being so technologically advanced, Beverly can't replicate the vaccine.
They should have had one person cured. Then they could have said, we can't figure out how it was done, but we know it works. So they have the vaccine, but we can't look at it.
I think we're overanalyzing this episode. The only real highlight of this episode is watching Geordi shave.
We have a very stereotypical Next Generation scene.
Why that razor, my friend? Why not the one I adjusted to perfect efficiency?
Shaving is a human art form, Data. Technological perfection can shave too close.
He's not actually touching his face with it, and he's also not wearing his visor, which means he's shaving by touch only. And I'll tell you right now, if I tried to do that, it would not turn out well.
During that scene, he tries to run out when Data starts to tell a joke, but he tries to run out without his visor.
I guess the joke must have been that bad that he was willing to stumble around the ship blindly rather than listen.
The big reason people don't like this episode is they made the less developed, stereotypically tribal race all black, and they're trying to kidnap a white woman.
If they chose to make them not all black, would it be as offensive?
I don't think people would be using the word racism, but it would still be a dumb episode. It has bigger problems than that. That was a dumb decision, especially when you have a chance to introduce a new alien race in your new Star Trek show and they just look like humans. I don't think it's intentionally racist, but it does come off that way.
Definitely. Part of the ritual to get Tasha back is to have a gladiator-type match. I like when they're fighting on that weird jungle gym. It looks like the most convoluted thing ever, and it's probably made that way because the set was so small.
There's even a shot from a distance that shows you how small the set is. It definitely didn't have the impact that they were hoping for.
I also like their impractical weapons that are those weird pinhead gloves.
Before the fight, Picard tells Geordi and Data to analyze the weapons on the wall, but they both end up with the same one, and it's not even one of the ones that was on the wall. And when they're talking about the weapons, Picard tells them to evaluate their lethal capabilities, and then they come back and just say, these weapons are really sharp.
Especially important is an analysis of their combat capabilities. Geordi, concentrate on their cutting edges, wherever applicable. Durability, composition, weaknesses of material.
Aye, sir. The weapons in that room, Captain, are surprisingly flexible, durable, and deadly.
Yeah, they're weapons. What do you think they're for?
I think Tasha should have shown up to the fight and said, I brought my own weapon, and then whipped out Geordi's razor. And she'd be like, watch out, it can't get too close.
When one of the gloves gets knocked off and hits one of the spectators, Luton just says, give the weapon back. So he gives it back, and then finally looks down and says, oh crap, I've been stabbed, because somehow he didn't notice, and then he immediately falls over and dies. And I like the part where they wheel Tasha in, and the implication is that she's gouged out this guard's eye.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And it never comes up again, that she tore out a guy's eye.
She's a sex-crazed maniac. It's only the 3rd episode, but she's already been with Data and however many other people from the Naked Now, and in this one she wants to be Luton's wife, but she can't because of Starfleet. In a completely unrelated and uninteresting subplot, Beverly keeps pestering Picard to let Wesley on the bridge. There are 1,000 people on the ship, and I'm sure some of them know way more about it than Wesley, but they're not allowed to go on the bridge whenever they want.
I like when Wesley's in the turbo lift.
And Picard does his best dad speech when he puts his hands on his hips and says, come out of there. And Wesley says,
I haven't stepped 1 foot on your bridge, Captain.
you little smartass.
What about Wesley's sweater in this episode?
Well, it's brown, and it has sleeves that are attached incredibly stupidly.
That was his own personal choice. He was like, man, I gotta be stylish.
Yeah, let me cut off the sleeves and then sew them back on so it just looks like shit. And then he does that slow motion smile he does all the time. Riker does that too, but it's only half of his face. He's got a John Leguizamo thing going on.
I actually kind of like Riker in these early episodes. He's got authority, he knows what he's doing, he's very confident about everything. He's a straight hero type without being arrogant or trying to take charge when it's not his place.
Agreed. And in the end, they get Tasha back, even though she wants to stay there.
With the guy who kidnapped her.
And they also get the vaccine and deliver it. So hopefully everyone on that planet is not dead from waiting for the crew. Code of Honor. Overall,
it's a really bad episode. Not as bad as its reputation suggests, in my opinion, because that's more the connotations that come with it as opposed to the actual quality of the episode itself, but it's still really bad no matter how you look at it. I would give it a D-.
I'd give it an F. I think it gets an inflated reputation just by word of mouth, but it really is bad for pretty much every reason. If you came up to me on the street and asked, what episode of Star Trek is really bad? I'd probably say, get away from me. But my answer would probably be this one.